Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual
Toxic
harassment.
masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says he's
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men, we're acting like we're gonna shake it.
and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
Okay, so that is, that is the Gillette commercial. You know, there's a lot of people that don't like what these Gillette or this Gillette commercial is saying. And for me, as a man that I have Gillette razors right next to me, actually. When it comes to a razor commercial, I don't think that this is what you want to advertise as. The point of this video today is that I've been seeing a lot of dislikes on that video. I've seen a lot of negative comments, and I've seen a lot of positive comments as well. It's got almost 500,000 upvotes as well. It's close to 900,000 dislikes at this point. But when it comes to why they're doing it, I think is what people are questioning. Is Gillette a perfect company? No. Is Gillette the most moral company with its CEOs and leaders and etc.? I don't know. I can't give you a solid answer to that question. But what I can say is that I don't agree with the method of which they are going about it. I've seen in the media both sides. I've seen the media tear apart anyone who disagrees with the message of this advertisement. And as a person who's going to be getting into advertisement, an editor, I truly don't understand it either fully, which is partially my fault as well as the ad itself. You know, there's a lot of confusion these days about men and masculinity and women's rights and feminism and etc. We could go on and on for days about what the world has turned into in 2019. there are a lot of people who disagree with this ad. And I think today I'd like to defend the reasons why. Because on YouTube comments, you can go through YouTube comments and you can read all these things. And then you get the people who are for the ad and say that this is necessary. And they read those, and a lot of them are negative, hateful comments. And it's only standing to prove the commercial's point. So I'd like to, and I'm not saying by any means am I some kind of professional in psychology, or I can't speak for every man and his reasons for disliking the commercial, but I can certainly speak for myself. I can certainly give you my opinion on the whole picture, not just one person's opinion on one specific thing, but the entire picture. Now we have this commercial that is saying that men, most men, are toxic. Most men are not raising their children right. Most men are sexist towards women. And I think this is where we immediately lose touch with reality. Because in the commercial, they strictly say some men are good. And they're pretty much saying some men are good, but most aren't. So when it comes to that statement, your customer base is probably anywhere between 80 to 90% men. I mean, your tagline is the best a man can get. And you create a commercial that bashes masculinity and men. Now, am I saying that it's all bad? No, I'm not. There are moments in the commercial that are just, and they make sense. I think that in a lot of circumstances, a normal, everyday person's never going to be involved with some of those circumstances that happen in the commercial, like the part where the woman is sitting at the CEO round table and the obvious boss, like the overarching CEO, it seems, says, you know, what I really think she's trying to say, and he puts his hand on her shoulder and she looks super disappointed. Perhaps they didn't like what she said, and that man was trying to explain it in terms that they could understand better. Perhaps it wasn't sexism, perhaps it wasn't whatever. But to look at it from both sides, you need perspective. I think the defense of most of the people that watch this short ad, yet strong, powerful ad, I wouldn't call it strong, I'd call it powerful, because it's very much got the attention of media. It's got the attention of men. It's also got the attention of a lot of females who have been a part of the Me Too movement. And I think that the main problem with this video, and the main reason that men are upset, is it makes them out to look like monsters. It makes masculinity out to look wrong, as though men are wrong and masculinity is wrong. I listen to Jordan Peterson a lot, clinical psychologist from the University of Toronto. He's a very intellectual man. If you ever want to listen to him, I'll post some links into the description. He is extremely intelligent on matters of human communication and our lack thereof in 2019, in this modern day era when we have the ability to communicate at a constant pace. We have the ability to know more than we have ever known, and yet we know as little as we have ever known. Some would call it fake news. I simply call it misinformation. Taglines that are asking for attention rather than to tell the truth. And I think that in a day and age where communication is so insanely fast and so insanely complex, human beings have lost the ability to communicate in a way that can speak to everyone. Some people are misinformed about certain things, and then they spout off lies, and they spout off things that just don't make any sense, and then you get 900,000 likes or dislikes on your video. And I don't think that the main reason men are disliking this video is because, well, they just hate straight white men. They just hate men. I think it's the simple fact that this is a razor commercial. A razor commercial. I want to shave my face. And as I shave my face, I get to be lectured at that my masculinity is toxic, and that the way I raise my children is wrong, and that the way I hang out with my friends is wrong, and the way that I treat women is wrong. I don't believe this to be the case. I'm only 24 years old, so I don't have children yet. I don't even have a full-time job as of yet. I'm about to graduate college. 5th year is almost complete. And then I'll get to go into the workforce and I'll get to see it firsthand. Now, perhaps this two-sided story isn't just... It's not so black and white as this commercial makes it out to be. And that's what I think the problem is. I believe that men are upset, and myself included. I'm not that upset about it, but I'm more so just concerned as to what this commercial leads to in the future. It's aligning itself with movements that have been known to be fraudulent many times. Just recently, the Me Too movement tried to place Donald Trump under fire and get him most likely impeached with the recent trials against him, with the allegations of sexual misconduct. It was found that there was no evidence. The woman could not state any factual evidence that would hold up in court and hold up in law. And the fact that all men are being subjugated to this now, under penalty of prison, under penalty of fine, under penalty of, hatred by communities. Not because they actually did it, but because they were simply said to have done it. This is only throwing more kindle on that fire, and you're only angering more and more men. You are not making the situation better. You cannot say most men are this way. You don't know who these people are, and you are spouting it off as though you know every customer, every 80% of the men you sell these razors to. You're saying don't raise their children right, are sexist towards women, that masculinity is toxic, and that femininity is strong and powerful. And it's getting to that point where I'm annoyed by it, because it's constantly thrown in our face that who we are as chemical involved human brains, men, being a man is not as correct as being a woman or being feminine. Being masculine is not as good as being feminine. I don't know where this is going. I've seen this going on for many years now, and I'm not entirely sure what the end goal is for these people, for these companies, and the government side that wants to push this narrative. Am I against women's rights? No, of course not. I have a mother and two sisters who I love very much, and I hope they do the best in life, and I see them all the time, and I would never wish any ill upon them just because they're women. Don't be silly. I'm 24 years old. I'm a young man in the United States, and all I am seeing these days is negativity towards men. Negativity towards being masculine, towards showing your manlyhood. When 50 years ago, that's the way of life. That we're men. What's wrong with being a man? Now, don't get me wrong. Some parts in the commercial, sure, those things do happen. Parents sometimes can be bad parents. Stop their boys from fighting, they won't. Or sometimes you've got a pervert in the office who wants to slap an ass or something, or whatever. But there's so many factors that are not being addressed with these commercials and with these people who are spouting the same things. Toxic masculinity. I mean, I can't think of a more strange catchphrase, or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, I have a runny nose. I just can't think of anything that's more odd, I suppose. Pause. Gonna do some editing and blow my nose. Gillette review. Gillette review. So I'm gonna wrap this up, but just to leave it on a final note, I think this commercial has good aspects to it, and I think it has bad aspects to it. And I think that we see that with the like and dislike ratio and the communication that people are giving back to Gillette and to other people involved in the conversation. I think that men are angry with this because I don't understand fully why or where this whole anti-masculine movement has come from. I don't believe that the mass majority of men are like this, and I certainly do not believe that the mass majority of men agree with being like that. I think a mass majority of people are good. A mass majority of men are good. They're good fathers. They attempt to be good. And as I said before, many circumstances make it so they can't be. Or that life throws curveballs at them, and statistics show that without a father, without a man in the family, children tend to be more... It's funny that they tend to be more angry, more toxically masculine. They tend to be, or they tend to fail in life without a father, masculine figure to show them the way, along with a mother, feminine figure. I don't think that men and women should be at each other's throats for being men and women. I think men should be men, women should be women, and we should coexist and get along. We're going to have bumps in the road. We're going to have mistakes happen. We're going to have people argue and complain, etc., but we need to keep cool heads, and we need to always look at the facts. We need to look at the truth, and we need to see these commercials for what they are. Misinformation. I think this commercial, it misguides a movement that otherwise has great morals and a great message. But the way it was presented, and the company that presented a shaving commercial, for goodness sake, I just don't think this is the way to go about it. And I think that you are seeing that obvious backlash by what the media is calling men's activists. But yeah, that's it. Please leave a comment in the bottom, what you think, what your opinion is, because we're all entitled to our own. You can love me, hate me for anything I said. Please, I'm open to any criticism that you may give. But just remember, we're all human beings. We see what we see, and then we respond the way we believe is correct. And these are my opinions, and this is the way I'm seeing this commercial as, and seeing the response by many men as. So, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.